Hello, thanks for joining this webinar. My name is Maureen Van Duzen, and I will be presenting this webinar with my colleague Erin Reel of the CARES planning team. We will provide a brief overview of creating a new project in ESNAPS. This webinar was developed specifically for COC membership, board members, and community stakeholders. CARES developed this webinar because we believe it is our responsibility as collaborative applicant to provide clear and concise information on the ESNAPS application submission to the full community to ensure the COC process is community-centered and transparent.
Because the NOFA details a variety of important topics, CARES has produced a series of webinars to cover specific topics in more detail. Additional webinars include presentations on the following: NOFA Summary, HUD Priorities and the Consolidated Application, New Project Opportunities, such as Bonus and Reallocation, DV Bonus Opportunity, Opportunities for Renewing Projects, Consolidation and Transition Grants, ESNAPS Refresher, Setting Up Renewal Projects, ESNAPS Refresher, Setting Up New Projects. Please be sure to view these webinars on the NOFA section of the CARES website. Please also be sure to visit the NOFA page on the CARES website regularly for important application information and due dates.
Today's presentation provides only a summary of creating a new project in ESNAPS in a brief, succinct format. Specifically, this presentation will discuss accessing and registering projects in ESNAPS, review of registering for the FY22 new project application, how to create a new project application, detailing ESNAPS technical submission directions, and lastly, application format review. This presentation will not provide a detailed overview of the continuum of care, provide a detailed overview of the 2022 NOFO, provide a detailed overview of the 2022 new project application. As a reminder, the HUD ESNAPS website you will use to log in is esnaps.hud.gov. CARES will provide a direct link to this page from our website by going to the CARES Planning NOFO page under HUD Resources. Deadlines for submission. All new project applications, including those applying for the DV bonus, are due in ESNAPS on August 24th. CARES will review all project applications in ESNAPS and will provide recommended edits. This is the first screen you will see when you access the ESNAPS website. The left-hand side is where you will put your username and password in order to log in. If you've forgotten your password, click the Forgot Your Password link. If you keep trying a password that you're not sure of, you'll end up getting locked out of ESNAPS. If that does happen, wait 15 minutes and try again. Just a reminder that CARES does not have any of the username or password information, so if you do get locked out or forget your username, please email cocnofo@hud.gov to reset your information. As a reminder, ESNAPS can be painfully slow. If you're not sure if the program is working or not, take a look at the top of your screen and see if the wheel is spinning. If it's still spinning and the program is working, it's just taking a while. CARES does not control usernames or passwords for ESNAPS. You must email HUD at cocnofo@hud.gov to receive assistance.
If you have never been in ESNAPS before, you must first create your profile. Click on the Create Your Profile link, pictured here, circled in green. If you've forgotten your password, click the Forgot Your Password link. If you keep trying a password that you're not sure of, you'll end up getting locked out of ESNAPS. If that happens, wait about 15 minutes and try again. Just a reminder, CARES does not have any username or password information, so if you do get locked out or forget your username, please submit a HUD AAQ and they'll be able to reset your information. Another reminder, ESNAPS can be painfully slow. If you're not sure if the program is working, take a look at the top of your screen and see if the wheel is spinning. If it's still spinning, then the program is working. Just remember, it takes a while. There are 4 parts to submitting a new project application in ESNAPS. First, you must update or create your applicant profile. Second, register for funding. Third, name and create your new project, and fourth, complete the application and submit. This is the first screen you'll see when you log in. You simply press Accept to advance to the next page. After accepting the rules of behavior, you will be brought to this screen. Press Applicant from the gray sidebar under Workspace. After choosing Applicants, you will see this page. You will need to click on the orange folder, which is circled in red. It's worth noting here, the order of items under the Workspace tab follows the logical order of the steps to complete your project application. Before you can do anything, you need to fill out the applicant profile, which is essentially giving HUD information about your agency. This is the first section of the applicant profile. If your agency has previously received COC program funding, ESNAPS should remember your agency's information. For questions 1 through 4, the ESNAPS system will pre-populate the information for you to verify. Be sure to click the Save and Next button. If your agency has never received COC program funding, then you will need to complete each of the required fields for questions 1 through 4 of the applicant profile.
In Section 2, Organization Information, you will verify this information and make any changes, or complete this information from scratch if you have never received COC funding before. Then click Save and Next. Section 3, Authorized Representative Contact Information. You will verify this information and make any necessary changes, or complete this information from scratch if you have never received COC funding before. Then click Save and Next. Note that the authorized representative must be the person in the organization authorized to sign legal documents and legally obligate funds for the applicant's organization. Section 3, Part 2, Alternate Contact Information. You will verify this information and make any necessary changes or complete this information from scratch if you have never received COC funding before. Then click Save and Next. Note that the alternate contact is the person who can address matters in the absence of the authorized contact and who has knowledge of the project application.
Section 4, Additional Information. You will verify this information and make any necessary changes, or you'll complete this information from scratch if you've never received COC program funding before. Remember to click through all of the drop-down menus to answer the questions, and please remember to click Next to save your work. Section 5, Forms and Attachments. This first form is referred to as the 2880. You need to verify this information or complete the information from scratch if you've never received COC funding before. This form is long, and you will need to scroll down the page to view it in its entirety. As you scroll down, you'll focus your attention on Part 1 of the 2880. There are 2 questions that you will need to answer. For question 1, everyone is expected to select yes. For question 2, you will select yes if your agency is applying for any federal funds in excess of $200,000, including your COC program funding. To be clear, if your agency is applying cumulatively for federal funds in excess of $200,000, then you'll select yes to this question. If you select yes, you'll scroll down the page to complete parts 2 and 3 of the 2880 form. Part 2, also pictured on this slide and circled in red, is where you list any other governmental support that you're receiving. On Part 3 of the 2880, you'll list all of the other parties who are associated and have a financial investment in the project, such as developers, contractors, consultants, or subrecipients if they receive an excess of $50,000 or 10% of the COC funds requested. Once you've completed Part 3, scroll down. Finally, at the bottom of the page, you will need to certify the information above by clicking the I agree checkbox. Review the name and signature directly underneath, and then click the Next button.
The next form you advance to is the Code of Conduct form. I want to take a moment to first direct your attention to the left-hand side of the screenshot where we've circled the forms and attachments list. If you have applied for COC program funding before, you can expect to review most of these forms. If your organization is new to COC program funding, you will need to download each of these documents, complete them, and then upload the forms to their corresponding subsection. As you upload or review the forms, please remember to click Next to save your progress. If your Code of Conduct document is already on file, your previously uploaded Code of Conduct document will download when you click the magnifying glass download button.
When completing the Survey on EEO Forms section, you will click on the link pictured here, which will take you to a separate page and includes a link to access the survey. You will need to download the form and upload it to this page, and then click Save and Next to advance to the next section.
This image shows the page you will see after clicking on the Survey on EEO form. Note that the link in the application is currently broken, but applicants can find and download this document online. A link to the PDF from HUD Exchange is included on this slide. You will need to complete manually, then scan and upload the document.
Next, you'll move on to Section 6, Submission Summary. This page will show you your progress and completion for each of the applicant profile sections. You must have a green check mark next to the pages that are labeled mandatory in order to click Complete and move forward. After you've clicked the Complete button from the previous page, you will be brought to this screen. Click the Funding Opportunity Registrations link to the left-hand side in the gray box to begin the next steps.
The Funding Opportunity Registration page will look like this. Under the Funding Opportunity Name column, look for New Project Application FY22 and then click the icon to the left to the Funding Opportunity details.
This is the next screen you should see. The second box on the page is where you want to focus your attention. While this screen does not show it, you might be prompted to answer a specific question. They'll ask, are you sure you want to register the applicant for a funding opportunity? You should select yes. After you have selected yes, you will notice the language in the second box has changed to indicate that the project applicant has been registered, as is pictured here. Once you see that, you can click the back button. Next, you will click on Projects from the gray left-hand side bar. Once you have loaded the Projects page, direct your attention to the top of the page and click on the drop-down menu, circled in red, labeled Funding Opportunity Name.
Once the drop-down is open, scroll through the list to find New Project Application FY2022. Note that 2021 is shown on this slide to demonstrate.
Your next step is to click on the icon in the left-hand corner of the table as pictured here. This is how you will create a new project.
From here, you will first name your project. We will review a suggested naming convention for naming your project on the next slide. Once you have a project name in the field, you should click the Save and Back button. Your next step will be to select Submissions from the left-hand gray sidebar. When naming your new project, CARES suggests you consider choosing a name for the project that is unique and adding the year 2022 to the title. A unique naming convention will make it easier to search for your project in the future.
Your screen will appear like this after hitting the Save and Back button from the previous page. Your next step will be to select Submissions from the left-hand side gray bar. Once your submission screen has loaded, your first step is to click the Applicant Project Name drop-down menu and scroll through the list to find your newly created project name. After you choose the applicant project name from the drop-down list, click Filter. You don't have to fill out any other information before you click Filter. After hitting the Filter button, your project will appear in the table below. Because your program name will be unique, only one project should be listed here. Click the folder icon under the Actions column, as pictured in this image. This will open your new project application.
Each application has 8 parts to it. Depending on what project type you are applying for, different sub-pages will open up under each part of the application. This is the first screen you'll see when you begin the application. At first, you are only going to be able to see Part 1 of the application. You must complete Part 1 in order for Parts 2 through 8 to open up. I will show you the screen progression for Part 1, and eventually you will see how Parts 2 through 8 open up. You will complete these questions and hit Next to save and continue. The Federal Entity Identifier and State Application Identifier require no action and can be left blank.
Legal Applicant page. This page will either autofill information for you to review, or you will need to complete these fields from scratch. Scroll down to hit the Next button to save your work. Applicant details. Again, complete these questions and hit the Next button to save and continue. Congressional districts. Here you will see 3 rows of charts. To complete questions 14 and 16A and B, first you must select your answer to the question from the first box and then click the second button from the row of gray buttons in the middle in order to move the selection into the box on the right. Scroll down the page after you have completed this action for both questions 14 and 16A and B.
After you filled out the above charts and scrolled down, questions 17 and 18 appear. Question 17 asks you to indicate the start date of your proposed project. The start date you choose must be a date in 2023. Your end date should be 1 year from your chosen start date. For example, if you choose April 1st, 2023 as your start date, end date will be May 31st, 2024. CARES recommends starting your project later in the year if possible in the event that HUD contracts for that year are delayed. For question 18, ESNAPS will not allow you to fill in this information. The information will automatically fill in once CARES submits the application. Click Save and Next to move on.
The next page is Compliance. This is what you should see on that page. As you complete the questions on this page, remember that everyone in New York is subject to an executive order. With that in mind, click the drop-down menu for the first question and choose B as pictured here. Next, move down to question 20. Click the drop-down box to answer. Question 20 is based on your organization. Click the Save and Next to move on. On to the declaration form. You will start by selecting the I agree box, then fill in the information or review the information if it populates for you. And lastly, you'll hit the Save and Next button to move on. The next page is the HUD 288 form. This will mirror the information you provided in your applicant profile. You shouldn't need to fill anything out on this page. Just review the information and scroll down for the prompts. Scrolling down to the bottom of the page will show you what is pictured here. Check the I agree checkbox, and don't forget to click the Save and Next button before you advance to the next page. The HUD 50070 form. The fields throughout this form will either pre-populate information, if your organization received COC program funding before, or if you have never received COC program funding before, then you will need to fill this information in from scratch. Scroll down the page.
As you scroll down the HUD 50070 form, first you will check the box that you certify the information provided is correct, review the information below, or complete the information in full, and lastly click the Save and Next button. Note that you will need to attach a document with the address of where project services will be provided in later parts of the application.
Certification regarding lobbying form. You will need to click the box certifying the information below is correct. Scroll down to review. Review that the information in the fields is correct and click the Save and Next button. Disclosure of lobbying form. First, you will select from the drop-down menu to answer the first question, and then you will review the information below. Based on how you answered the first question, the next question will appear on the form. Scroll down your page to view the information in its entirety.
First, you will certify by clicking the checkbox. Again, review the information below and click the Save and Next button. Assurances for non-construction programs. Review each numbered point below. You will need to scroll down to view all 19 points. At the bottom of this page, check the box to certify that your authorized representative has reviewed and gives the above assurances. Then click Save and Next. Part 1L is the final fillable section in Part 1, which will ask you if you are requesting COC program funds for construction costs. Use the drop-down button to select your response and then click Save and Next. The final page of Part 1 allows you to view a summary of sections. Note the column on the left that says Complete and the column on the right that says Mandatory. Items marked as mandatory must be checked as complete before you will be able to submit your application. To complete the application, you will need to fill out a total of 8 parts. We just reviewed how to complete Part 1 of the process in ESNAPS. Only after completing all of Part 1 will the rest of the application open up. We've pictured for you here the progression of your left-hand side gray bar from when it only shows Part 1 of the application to showing the rest of the application once Part 1 has been completed. Once you have completed Part 1, you will move on to the remaining parts of the application, which will require you to respond to questions about your organization, provide details about your project, including relevant data and performance measures, and provide narrative information that directly responds to the 2021 Notice of Funding Opportunity. For these sections, CARES strongly recommends that you utilize the new project application detailed instructions to view what specific information should be included in each question and section for the remainder of the application. If you need more technical assistance completing your application through ESNAPS, check out the HUD Navigational Guide for new projects. You can find this information online at the links provided. CARES also provides a webinar to walk through the detailed instructions for new project applications.
And there you have it, ESNAPS New Project Application Webinar in a nutshell. Additional webinars are posted on the CARES website. Here is that full list again. Please also be sure to visit the NOFA page on the CARES website for important application information and due dates. Thank you for participating in our webinar series, and please do not hesitate to contact anyone on the CARES planning team with any questions or concerns. Thank you.